Example 9 deals with supply and demand. And in this problem, we have a product called widgets that are being bought and sold on the market. We are given two variables, P and X, in this problem. P is meant to refer to the price per widget, and X is some quantity of widgets. It could either mean the quantity demanded in the market or the quantity currently being supplied in the market. Now we also have these two equations, the supply equation and the demand equation. These equations give the relationship between the current market price and the current supply of widgets in the market, as well as the current market price and the current demand for widgets in the market. So to get an idea of what these equations are telling us, I've graphed them over here to the side. Looking at the supply line first, you can see that it has a positive slope. One way of interpreting that is that the price per widget and the quantity of widgets being supplied are positively related. In other words, if you want the supply for widgets to increase, then the price also has to increase. To have more people interested in selling widgets, you have to see the widgets being sold for more. Okay? In contrast, the demand line has a negative slope. So we can one way to interpret that is as the price increases, the demand is going to decrease, and vice versa, which is sort of what you would expect there. So in this problem, we want to find the equilibrium price as well as the equilibrium demand. Geometrically, that amounts to finding the intersection of these two lines. If I find the intersection, the x-coordinate here is going to be the equilibrium demand, or I'm sorry, let's call it the equilibrium supply. We could call it really either one, but equilibrium supply, I think that's what it's called in the notes. And the vertical coordinate for the point is the equilibrium price. Now, before we solve these, let me explain very quickly why they're important. Let's assume that we have a price that is higher than the equilibrium price. Then the current supply for widgets is larger than the current demand for widgets. And in other words, we have an excess of widgets. We have too many widgets on the market, and that's going to drive the prices down. And on the other hand, let's say we have a current market price that is lower than the equilibrium price. Well, in this scenario, our demand for widgets is higher than our supply. We have more widgets being demanded than there actually are widgets to buy, and that's going to have an effect of driving the price up. So in theory, this equilibrium is the price where it's the price where that the market price will settle on over time. Okay, so now as far as how to actually solve for the equilibrium price. Well, if you look at our supply and demand equations, they are both of the form P equals something. So what we're going to do is set these equations equal to each other and then solve for X. So in other words, in the supply equation, P is equal to 0.15 X plus 9. And in the demand equation, P is equal to minus 0.06 X. I'm sorry, there's supposed to be an X here in that equation, plus 40. So I set those equal to each other, and then I solve for X. So first thing I do is I add 0.06x to both sides. That's going to give me 0.21x. And then I subtract 9 from both sides, and that's going to give me 31. So then I divide both sides by 0.21, and that's going to give me 147.62. I was asked around to 2 decimal places, so 147.62 widgets. So that is the equilibrium supply. So now if I want the equilibrium price, then I simply take that X value and then plug it into either one of my original equations. It does not matter at all which one I choose. Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go ahead and choose the equilibrium supply, but I could choose the equilibrium, or the supply equation, but I could have chosen the demand equation and I would get the exact same answer. So this gives me 0.15 times 147.62 plus 9. And so if I calculate that, I'm going to get 31.14 when I round to 2 decimal places, and that's a price, so that's the equilibrium price in dollars. Okay, so 147.62 is the equilibrium supply, and 31.14 is the equilibrium price.